Top of the morning. Try not to hit the sign here. There we go. Well, it smells like diesel in here. Emma's doing a load of laundry, or 2 loads of laundry, because we're leaving tomorrow. So, yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. To have a laundromat right here, and it smells like diesel in here, let me tell you. Yeah, it brings me back to when we were just getting used to the bus last year. Oh man, it's been a little over a year actually at this point. And that's wild. You know, it's so much fun working with your hands, experimenting, and I don't know, figuring out the best way to do things, and for the first time, you know. So that's great. It smells like diesel in here though. She had the clothes in the hamper on the she had the clothes in the hamper on the floor, and thankfully we have floor mats and whatever, so that smell will go away, I suspect, but all good there. So we are going to go pick up, we have white paint, and I think we have polyurethane at the bus, and just totally forgot to grab those the other day for whatever reason. I'm gonna go do that. I was reading online about our ticking sound. Comes and goes, and it's interesting because some folks have said that they switched to the T6, and it could have just been a pure coincidence, but you know, that's exactly what we have. And after switching, the exact same sound, right? It's like a typewriter type click. You know, and it is definitely, like, it's kind of asynchronous. It's not a one-to-one, you know, rev match. There's almost a delay there. It seems like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's an interesting thing. So again, it's all our warranty, you know, we'll get it checked out and whatnot. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because a lot of folks say, oh, diesel trucks are the strongest and it's the best, and there's no doubt they're more efficient, they have more power, you know, and I love the sound of a diesel truck. I love the torque, you know. We're not the fastest on the road, but we'll get there, right? However, especially the new diesel trucks, man, they're like fine women. you gotta take care of them. There's so many things, you know. DEF, you gotta clean the DPF on occasion. Apparently that's a thing you can do instead of replacing and cleaning. You got more fuel filters you have to do, which I guess you should do in a gasoline vehicle, but I've never heard of anybody that I know doing it, you know. And all the gas vehicles I've ever had, you know, never had that issue. So, you know, and then you had the diesel's a little more expensive, right? And you can get bad diesel, which is why you have diesel fuel filters, right? It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So, I mean, I love our truck. I do. I really hope it's not an actual issue. We do have that occasional, like, jerkiness. Oh, and we're regenning right now. Just coincidence. We have that occasional jerkiness. It also comes and goes. They say it's like normal. They're like, oh, nothing's gonna break. I don't know about you, but considering my old trucks, it's a little bit of, anytime I feel any jerkiness, every Chevy I've ever driven for work, at the parks department that I used to work at, every single Chevy had a transmission issue, and that was one of the things. Initially it would jerk, and then eventually it would start slipping, where you'd be at, you know, 4,000 RPMs when you really should be well below that. You know, it's just going up and up and up. So 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs, and you're like, and then you like let off, and they hit the gas again, and eventually it drops in. So, you know, that's not the symptom here where we're the residue too, but the jerkiness is I don't know. And on a brand new truck, it's just not ideal. So, but it does sound like Ram Stellantis is really incentivized to keep the RPMs down and keep the fuel economy up on it, even on the big vehicles, which I understand it, but if it's at the expense of longevity, I don't accept it. So I don't know anybody that does, though, in fairness. So what we're gonna do, what we got coming up, is we are leaving tomorrow. So we're gonna head out, and we're heading down to Vegas. I think I already mentioned this, but we actually got so our hotel's completely covered by these credit card reward points. And this is actually kind of a fun tip, actually. So you can find no fee cards. American Express has one, for example. Not everybody takes American Express, right? You can't use my Costco, for example, but zero fee cards. Obviously you have an APR, right? You have an interest rate. But then if you just spend the money you're going to spend regardless, but you put it on the card, and then you immediately pay it off, like every 2 days, I think it is, max. If we have the cash for it, we pay it right off. And if we don't have the cash for it, we don't buy it. And so then you just keep racking up these points. It's just kind of a fun little thing. And we've been extremely, like, we're very fortunate. We have no credit card debt because of this method. And I'm not a fan of debt. And, you know, if you use it strategically, that's different. But yeah, I'm very glad that we're in the position we're in, and we're able to actually pay for the hotel and a rental car. And it's kind of funny how that rental car game is like a whole thing. It's just a big game where, like, we can get a mid-size SUV, which I think is like the Nissan Rogue. We can get one of those cheaper than we can get some cars. Not even like luxury cars, but it's a whole thing. I actually think it would be really cool if we could rent an electric vehicle and go across the country in that, because I think that would be an interesting challenge. The problem is that we're picking up at an airport nearby, SeaTac Airport, and so they don't hold a lot of those types of vehicles, whereas the ritzier areas, Bellevue, Redmond, from what I'm reading, Seattle, I think there's one of the Seattle locations, they do have them because they like to have those just for like scooting about town and whatever. So I don't know, we'll see how that works. In a direct juxtaposition to when we went, wow, where were we? We were in Oregon, and Eugene Airport, I think it was, and we actually didn't want an EV then because we were going across the country, and we're like, hey, these don't have that very much range. It was I think it was one of the Chevy EVs or something like that, and they tried to stick us with it, and we actually had to cancel this whole thing. But we're like, hey, no, there was nothing in this that we had to get an EV. And in that case, actually, we would not have been able to use like the Tesla supercharger network. So I'm on a little bit of a rant here about this, but you know, it's one of those things. But I don't know, I think it would be nice to be able to use this massive network of chargers, just like you don't have to, you know, if you have a Ram, you don't have to go to Ram fuel stations, right? And I do know that, like, I think Ford has opened up, Tesla's opened up to Ford and all that, because they don't have their own thing. So ideally we could get a Tesla or something compatible with their supercharger network, but I'm not holding my breath. So yeah, tomorrow before we leave, we're gonna try to paint the underside of like the bed platform, and so we'll just move the bed out of the way, and you know, off we go. I think that'll help protect some of that wood from any moisture, a little bit better protection. I don't, you know, and we do need to make a little headboard, because we're still getting a slight bit of moisture in there, and that makes sense. I do think our holes have definitely helped a lot, but we never really had too much problem underneath the bed. You know, underneath the bed, for whatever reason, what really wasn't bad. It was just between the outer wall, and you can feel it on the vinyl. You can feel that moisture there. So yeah, I think if we get that bed, it doesn't have to be that much, maybe even just that much distance, I think that'll be all right. So we'll figure it out. We'll get that squared away. Yeah, it does feel good though to be getting all these maintenance things done with the truck. Hopefully the ticking is nothing, you know, they said they're going to diagnose it within the day. Once we bring it by, that should be no problem. And they don't have a loaner. They don't have a loaner, which is odd. I wonder if Stellantis will pay for a loaner if it actually requires work, though. I don't know. Starting to Lenny up here in a second. Took down, missed these ones. So the Christmas decorations here, and we're preparing to go cross country with Lenny. Well, at least on a long distance. So I think it's there's so many decorations. It's fair we clear any obstructions. That's pretty good. All right, does he start right up? I would hope so. Yep, pretty good. I did drop the air brake hands down all the way, and just want to make sure it rebuilds and all that good stuff pretty quickly. No, he sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. So hopefully, if everything goes well, Lenny will have a new home soon. A semi-permanent home, I should say. It'll be good to have a place that
I imagine he'll be a little bit of a shed for a while until we're ready to completely gut it and renovate it, take some money, you know, these types of things. So yeah, I'm very excited. And we've been going back and forth on the ceiling too. I keep mentioning that because that's really the stickler for me. Emma's, she doesn't really mind either way, but that's a big stickler for me. So I'm wondering, like, do we just put some screws in where it's sagging down, or just, I don't know. We'll see. Got our solar panels here. Rebuilding pressure. Looking good. All right. Yep, he's a happy bus. No air conditioning though. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Summer driving with no AC is not the not anybody's idea of a good time, I'll tell you. There are worse things though.
Yeah, you know, honestly, Lenny sounds great. Lenny sounds really good. So, oh yeah, I don't think he'll have a problem. I mean, he made it around the country, most of the country, last summer, so no, I think he'll be just fine. And yeah, ran him for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes there just to, you know, at idle and at higher RPMs, just to make sure that everything's good. There's no hiccups or anything like that. Yeah, my only real concern with that motor is the overheating. And some of that might just be like, it's a city bus. It's not a highway bus. It really isn't. They put, at least it's not tuned for it, and they put these big old boxes on them for storage. But I mean, if you don't even unlock the 6th gear, it just really wasn't meant for the highway. So, they're doing metal work over on this side of the storage unit. Bye, Lenny. And it sounds crazy. It's sounds of a working shop, working with your hands. There is something so dang satisfying though about doing a good day's work, you know, getting things done with your hands, doing them yourself. Love that. Love that.
That ticking is still there. It's just less pronounced. So improvement.
Big laundry day. We haven't done.
In 2.5 weeks.
Is this like every one of our clothing items?
No.
I didn't know we had so many clothes. 2 weeks of clothing right there.
2.5 weeks.
2.5, yeah. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and spray out the truck bed just because. Oh, wait, I have Dawn dish out here. Yeah, we're going to spray out the truck bed. Oh, yeah, can you hear that?
So got the Bear. So this is paint and primer. Oh, and then on this one, actually I thought this was polyurethane. It is a stain. Well, shoot. No worries. Well, I'm going to go ahead and paint these little pieces of wood. And then these will work for these cameras because, I mean, paint is good enough, I think, for our purpose. But yeah, I tried the PMF. It was a good idea, in theory. We will find somewhere that it works well. But anyways, yeah, there's just a little tiny bit of oil. It's not. It looks way worse than it actually is. It's hard to tell in the camera. Plus, we have a little bit of mud up there, so why not clean it out while we're here? Yeah, I love this stuff, and we use this for anything that we're like, you know. Yeah, might as well. And it actually works pretty well on clothing too. If you get any oil stains in clothing, sometimes you can get some of them out. At least food oil. If you get real oil or diesel or whatever, it does not come out of your clothing. So, you know, yeah. And this doesn't hurt anything. Got a lid there. I think I mentioned this already. But yeah, we are going to do basically the rack that goes over, like a ladder rack that goes over, and then we're going to have to tear that down. At least the legs part of it, and then we'll just take the top frame because it's perfectly, I mean, it's very adjustable, so better than the ladder rack would be. It's adjustable, it's the perfect width for the solar panels, and then for the sides we're going to figure that out. And we might use these leg pieces, you know, the bottom part of that, we might use those for the side rails. We'll see. Here, the top of the bed, where that would mount, to this point is right around 22.5 to 23 inches, somewhere in there. So the minimum of the other ones, like you can find a 27 and or 25. I mean, that works, so that'll clear, no problem. The question is, though, we have a 30-inch solar panel, and one thing we don't want to have is that if the side panels are too far up, they will go ahead and, if we have a good angle of the sun, they'll go ahead and shade that. Hopefully that's making sense. So they'll shade that. So got to figure that out. The other thing is a lot of those ladder racks, in order to, because a lot of people talk about corner bracing, which is something we've considered. There's just not a great way to do it right now. One thing those do differently is that they have like a second rail on top, so they kind of come up and over, out long, and then they have a second little thinner piece that comes up and over, and it distributes the weight a little bit better. I don't know if we can turn that upside down, if that's an option. So that could be one option. Is we turn it upside down, it's going to be the same exact effect, or I don't know. This might just raise them up high enough, or we get different brackets that raise them high enough. The other thing, apparently they whistle, and there's apparently people just take like rope to break up the wind. But you take a rope and you crisscross it, and it seems to do the trick. So something, all these little things that we're kind of preparing for. I need to go get the hose. Also, a little update here. So we have not picked up a drop shank for this guy yet. We'll pick it up probably when we get back. The one we're looking at, because there's not too many options that are 2.5 inch. And the one we're looking at is it's 2.5 inch, but some people say there's extra play. Other people say I had to get it modified and shaven down. So it's a Kurt model. But we'll get that going. And somebody asked, I was thinking about this box, and I love this box. I mean, look at how much, and we're going to put more crap in here too, right? Our chairs go in here still, believe it or not, and our ladder, all of our, our stinky supplies, extra hoses, 3 hoses total, hammock, all that good stuff. But this holds a good amount of stuff. And it also acts, between this guy and this guy, in the way that they're angled, because at first I thought it was kind of weird that they're sort of tilted forward. It's not an optical illusion; they're actually tilted forward. But and I love the texture. The texture, and you can see where all the mud goes. This is going to obviously not. If it gets dinged, you're not really going to notice it, which I love that. And all of this and the placement of this window, because it's so high up, you're not going to get rock chips, or at least based on the trajectory of how would a rock travel, from the very bottom of there to the bottom of how do things bounce around. I really don't see us getting a rock chip on these acrylic windows. It's not impossible, I'm sure, but that's not something we're actually worried about. If we were, we could get something like rock tamers, which, believe it or not, didn't actually help as well with our Airstreams as one would hope. But no, I'm really not too worried about it. Just a little side note, but I really like this box. We also have all of the wash stuff in here. Yeah. If I had to pick one single thing that I like about an RV park, it is the water hookups, honestly. Definitely that. Being able to, I could scrub that actually. Being able to just scrub and spray and whatever, anytime, wash stuff, that's nice. The power typically isn't too big of a deal, except for maybe in the winter. But, this is great. There are drains, if you guys didn't know this. Some people just don't. There are drains on the corners of these guys. This one's actually kind of clogged up right here. But right in that crease, there's a drain. Get that crap out of there. Oh, weird. We have bobby pins back here. Emma doesn't use bobbies. That's weird. Yeah, guess we can use them to clean this. But that's kind of a nice thing. Helicopters. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, well, I guess it's kind of hard to tell sometimes until it's dried again, but I think it looks better. And we have a 5th wheel prep package on this. I don't see us ever using it, but I guess it can't hurt. We could also figure out how to pop those open, because they do twist. but they don't, like, no good way to, I'm sure we could pop them from below, but if we need extra drainage or something like that, or, you know, use them as a tie down or something like that, this truck is actually pretty, you know, got nice anchor points here. I'm sure you can pop that out and, you know, off we go. And completely forget about this outlet here, which is really nice. And then we got a 7 and a 4 pin right here, and another tie down. We got bed lamps, all that good stuff. Yeah, see that one pops out. I'm sure there's a way to, I don't know if you have to cut that out or what, but anyways, the ladder racks though, they use J hooks as well, and they're just clamps, so they're pretty universal fitting, it sounds like, but there's so much more surface area and they're much more solid. And then on the end of the J clamps, it seems like a lot of them actually have a flat bar, which is cool. You know, not a big deal. I think my idea here, I think it was pretty close, but it's not quite rigid enough. I don't know that still that like going with a taller bar would have helped anything. It is a little more floppy than I was hoping on the overhang. But again, we can use like basically hockey pucks or something like that on the end of a long screw, and that should, a long bolt, and that should do the trick if we needed to. We'll see. What a beautiful day, right? Beautiful, beautiful day. Look at that. Solar panel up there. Yeah, it's definitely twisted a little bit, but it seems to be, I mean, they're producing power, which is awesome. It cannot wait to get all this cleaned up and head on out. We are out of here in just a few more weeks. Oh, what a beautiful day, right? Yeah. I know at least a few of you guys seem to enjoy these kind of more boring videos, but it's just like, it's good to appreciate the good weather, right? When you have it. Not too hot, not too cold. If you don't like the weather, wait 20 minutes or whatever that phrase is. And we're getting a little wind here. We're actually quite lucky because our tree has a good thick base, good thick trunk, and it's clearly been chopped a few times. But some of these other ones, I was just watching them and they're like, rain turned down and wind turned down here, but oh, gotta call me a liar. Meh. Anywho, we may end up actually putting our awning in here in just a few, because we're not going to leave it out for a week. Emma loves the purple eyes here. Yeah, we're not going to keep this out while we're gone. That doesn't make any good sense. But I'm going to do a little bit of painting on this guy real quick. Got new squares cut, or triangles cut, and yeah, let's get that going. We got that interior eggshell enamel. It may not hold up ultimately, but you know, this will at least get us by. Oh, there's the wind. Got one coat of paint going. Yeah, so one, and we'll come back in a little while. And I just applied with a little napkin. That'll do. All right, got a second coat, a little thicker on this round, and we're buttoning things up so we can put the awning in. And of course, a little while later, we've got sun again, which always feels good. All right. And also, I was talking about this front box. And look, I mean, I even got these chairs in here. I mean, you can fit so much. Look at that. And then we have one more hose that goes in on this side, and obviously there's extra room for that. Look at this. Isn't this amazing? Oh, I could actually put the DEF in the tank. Yeah, again, downside to a diesel is all the extra crap you have to do. I know a lot of people do delete right away, but yeah, if you don't, you end up like this. So no regrets though. No, you know, I love our truck. I hope that it's okay, that the motor's fine. What they're saying, we should know pretty quickly. They'll diagnose it all within the day, and when we get back, so I should be relieved. But you know, you guys probably know, if you've ever dealt with any of these car manufacturers, they don't always like to approve the warranty work, right? And you have to find the mechanic that actually knows what he's looking at. As a technician at Apple, if you've ever had this like idea that maybe there's something else going on, I just can't diagnose it, right? I always use my resources, and I know, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way in the car industry, right? In the automotive world, but That's all right. Hopefully we get somebody that's honest and will persist if there is something, and they report that there's not. So the best case is that nothing's actually wrong, and maybe there's just some air in the oil or something like that, which seems like a weird thing, but you never know. I've heard lifters, I've heard other people say it's just totally normal, so who knows. But Emma's packing up all of her stuff, clothing wise and beauty wise, if you will, mostly on her side. I just bring a toothbrush, and yeah, we're off tomorrow, so we can go run a car and take the dogs to my mom's, and yeah, off we go. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.